If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.
Hey, it's JD here, and we're celebrating Canada Day in a big way. If you've been riding along with the pod, you've already met Dante Anderson and likely have put the puzzle pieces together that we've got ourselves a title sponsor. That's right. I found a partner in North Star Bets, a Canadian-owned and operated team who have legit hip bona fides just like us. They also give us access to a larger, brighter spotlight that we can shine on ALS and folks living with the disease. So this isn't just a logo slap. North Star Bets is stepping up in a real way, putting their name and resources behind a cause that matters. So if you're placing a bet, hitting the tables, or spinning the reels sometime soon, do your old pal JD a favor and give North Star Bets a shot. They're backing us because they believe in what we're doing. They believe in the power of fandom. They believe in the power of music for change. You must be 19 plus and in Ontario. North Star Bets is licensed by iGaming Ontario. Please gamble responsibly. Hey, it's JD here, and I gotta tell you, I'm excited tonight. And we're here every Sunday, 8 o'clock, to talk about the Tragically Hip and their work, their legacy, and what we do to explore them in the current day. I do this every week with my friend Sarah J. Sarah, how are you doing today, motherfucker?
I'm doing super fantastic. I have had a weekend full of consuming content, which I know you're gonna ask me, so I wrote it down so I can go through everything I listened to, because you're gonna ask.
Perfect.
But I want to say I am so excited. I'm excited every Sunday, but this is a really exciting Sunday.
Yeah, and if you don't know what we're talking about, well, here's the deal. In around March, the negotiations, I suppose, the conversations began. And of course, you know, Sarah was right looped in and knew what was going on. And we were trying to find ourselves a partner that aligned with, you know, what we were doing here. And that is sort of a community tour de force for good. And they really latched onto that and got behind that. And, you know, this isn't just them writing a check and handing us a check. There's more, there's just more to it than that. Although that is a part of it. And that was lovely. And the show, October 4th, will fucking go on. Sarah, what do you think?
I think that it's all just so very fantastic. And we're going to get into it more in tonight as we start talking about all the different pieces and all the things that were released on Friday. My goodness, Friday was such a whirlwind. There was just so much excitement and so many cool things to put out there. Finally be able to tell everybody what we've been up to.
Yeah.
Finally reveal everything. So, but first of all, I want to just say congratulations to you and just amazing work. with just everything. I mean, you're just so amazing, and I'm really grateful that you have allowed me to be along for the ride and witness all this cool shit happening. So thank you and congratulations, and
Thank you. Fuck yeah, indeed.
Fuck
And you know what? Buckle up, because we're just fucking getting started.
Hell yeah. Yes. We're up to no good, and I love it.
It's going to be a summer of fun, for sure.
A summer of awesomeness.
Yeah, as we lead up to September, and I guess September will start the top 6. So September will be a pivotal month, or the top 7, maybe. I'm not 100% sure, but that's something along those lines. So just going along with the North Star Bats thing for a moment, for Canada Day, we put together a quiz and we put together a playlist. And I don't have the links here to share with you because, of course, I don't. But you can go to northstarbats.com.
Not prepared. I hate it.
No, uncool and underqualified. Hey, uncool and underqualified. There we go.
Perfect.
Yeah. So there's that. So definitely check out the quiz and the playlist. If you need assistance with that, check me out on Facebook, DM me, and I will get those links for you. Or
and if you're following the show
Instagram.
check out the Insta stories too. I've been vibing in there all weekend. So if that's your jam, there's links in there as well for sure. So
the other thing I'm really excited about is I took about a month off of this, but now it's coming back, and it's branded content from our title sponsor, North Star Bats. And that is This Day in Hipstery. And how fucked was it that the day that I released the Dante from Toronto episode, who is the VP of marketing for North Star Bats, if you want to give that episode a listen, I highly recommend it. It's a great episode.
It's a great episode.
It came out on the 27th of June. And in the episode, he's talking about this concert that he went to. And he looks up the concert mid-conversation. And the concert occurred in 2009 on June 27th. What the shit?
Yeah. You know how I feel about that because you actually brought that up when we were talking offline or in one of our meetings. And you're like, oh, you're going to love this. And I was like, of course I love this. It's one of those things where, like, I mean, I sat in on 2 meetings with you and Dante and the other guys on the team. And everybody is just so awesome and so kind, and this is such a perfect partnership for a ton of reasons. But then you get something like that, which is like a little cosmic confirmation email, it feels like. And it was just like, oh my God, kind of like, of course. It's just the stars aligned so perfectly. I love it.
Yeah. If there couldn't have been a greater sign that this was meant to be from a partnership perspective, then that was
and there's that little piece of it. I love it. Coming back to that playlist though, I recommend that everybody definitely give that a spin. I listened to it I think 3 times through, and I think I want to shout out you and Janet and Craig also, who helped put that together. You guys picked some really, really great songs, and the ebb and flow of it, the way that you put them together. It's a really great playlist for sure.
Link is in the bio. link is in the comments. I mean, sorry.
I want you to share your creative process, like, of piecing that together. Like, what was your process in that?
Okay, so I wanted to, like, I believe in a strong kickoff song, and I think that that's really important. So I think we started off with Little Bones because I don't think there's a more, maybe Grace too. I don't know that there's a more iconic kickoff song than Little Bones. And so that's what we went with there. And then you have to sort of match the pace but not exceed it. So that's sort of number 2. Number 3, you can be a little bit more eclectic, but you still want to sort of maintain that pace. And then number 4, you start to slow things down a bit, go a little bit more down tempo, and experiment in that space for the next few songs. And then you come out of that with a big spatial song like Gift Shop, and then wind up on a sort of meandering note with El Dorado.
I think it's great. Well, I love it too, because my all-time favorite song is tucked inside there. So
Yeah.
of course I'm gonna love it. But no, I think
Right?
it's great too. I said to you that there were songs on there that I had to revisit because it had been months since I listened to a few of those.
Oh,
So
wow.
that was nice to go back and listen and then see how you had placed them in there with the other songs. So kudos and bravo, and everyone should definitely give it a listen. So
Oh, thanks. Well, I want to say we're here live in the YouTube space. We're here every Sunday at 8 o'clock. The chat is open, and I did put the playlist in there. But if you're a Spotify person, can you search for it in Spotify, or is
I
that
think you
impossible?
might be able to, but it's interesting because I only listened to it one time and then it was just like in there and I didn't even save it. So you might be able to.
Huh. Yeah, I don't
It
use
does
Spotify,
say
so I
too
don't know.
well, 2 saves. Yeah, you might be able to just search for it if you do Canada Day playlist. Let me see if it'll pop up while I'm doing this. Because you have to make sure it's the right one. I'm sure there's multiple Canada Day playlists on Spotify. I wonder if you would just search under your name too. That would work. I bet.
Oh, that might work. Yeah. Craig just from Gift Shop. I'm not sure if it's Craig or Ian actually. From Gift Shop, just posted this. And I just think it's wonderful. You never go to war with Canada. This is Gord speaking. You never go to war with Canada. You need someone to soften them up. Go ask Churchill. Grace too.
Is this from? I wonder if they're playing the live shows that the band had put out. They're doing
I think they
one.
started at 8 o'clock. Yeah, I think so. Let me look.
Yeah, they're doing one. They
No,
did
it's
Thursday,
not.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday, I think.
No, it's just it's Poets right now. So I'm not sure when it starts. But
Yeah,
check that out if you're around. Channel 757 on Sirius Satellite Radio. You're going to want to check that out, really. So, it's from an LA show. That's what Craig says. So that's cool.
Very cool.
Sarah J., what's going on at DTC before we get into our hip stuff and invite membership on to the party?
A lot. And I actually I wrote notes so I wouldn't forget, because I feel like when you ask me this, I don't have my notes open. And then I'm like, damn, I should have talked about this. So first of all, on my show, we are in the thick of my conversation with Darren, taking a page from you, Darren from Toronto. Yeah, part 1 was really epic. And I've gotten a lot of really awesome feedback. Everybody's really excited to get to know Darren some more. And part 2 comes out Tuesday. I'm still working on that. I was consuming all the other content this weekend. So yeah, part 2 is just as epic. We get into the hip archive a lot in part 2. So I'm really excited for everybody to hear that, and that he hasn't actually been working on it for that long, which was very surprising to me. So even more awesomeness coming in part 2. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
I
it's going to
listened to
be
the
awesome.
shit out of the first one.
Oh, it was so much fun. I'm like, we have to do this again. Seriously. I said this last week when I talked about his episode. We were on for 2.5 hours, and there were still things in my notes that were highlighted that I really wanted to ask him about, but we just didn't get to it. So I'm like, we have to, because there's definitely many other hip related, but also just music related things that I want to ask him. He's seriously an encyclopedia. It's amazing, and just
that would be weird, Sarah J. That would just be plain weird. That would be a boring conversation, I got to tell you.
A very intriguing encyclopedia, but just it's amazing that it's just in there, and it
I know,
in there,
and he can just spell it out. It's just absolutely.
And
I have a little Rolodex in my brain.
All the shows that he's seen, and then he just knows these little connections between all these different bands, and this person played with these people, and then they did this, and then they did this over here, and I'm just like, oh my god, this is amazing. So I could listen to him talk about music all day long. So check that out.
Well, you got some
Aw.
feedback there.
Thank you so much. I just appreciate it that you guys like to listen to me yak about music. It's my favorite thing. So I like that people like to listen to me. Which reminds me, if people want to be on my show, come and hang out with me on my show. You can schedule a time to be on my show on my website, datcmediacompany.com. Also there, I do consultation meetings. I have people all the time ask me about website stuff, design stuff, podcast advice. I have a lot of creative people in my life. I have a lot of musicians in my life, and they're really good at playing music, but they're not so good at building websites and having to do all like the social media part of things and stuff. So I've had a lot of people ask me questions. So if that's something you're interested in too. And also, if you are a concert photographer, DATC Media is looking for concert photographers. We're looking to expand our reach all over. So if that is a passion of yours, something that you do just as a hobby or your job or whatever, reach out, and I'd love to chat with you. And, yeah, come and hang out on Team DATC Media. So datcmediacompany.com, patreon.com. I'm on Instagram. You know where to find me.
So, where aren't you, man?
I'm everywhere.
Lurking around every corner. My God.
Yes, there I am. I'm bringing the razzle dazzle always.
That's right. Well, speaking of razzle dazzle, we're going to head down to Tampa, Florida, and we're going to interact with part of membership. And membership, if you don't know, is an exclusive sort of thing that helps me out and ultimately helps out the ALS Society of Canada. You can join by donating any amount at buymeacoffee.com/TTH top 40 with the number 40. And I don't know, shoot me 10 or 20 bucks and it's going to be a great time. Then you get access to the round table. You get a whole bunch of shit, but that's not why you're doing it. You're doing it because, we're fam. So there's that. Sure. Andrew, my friend, how are you doing, Andrew, in Tampa?
You're not in the car. We have to
I'm not in the car, and I have internet today. It's great.
Working. Yay. 2 for 2. Go team.
Cheers.
Cheers indeed.
How the hell are you?
I'm fantastic.
Wonderful.
How are you?
Good. I just wanted to say thanks because the podcast is great, and being able to jump on and interact is even better. So when you're driving in your car and you're yelling at the radio, no, this, what you want, you can actually get back and interact with this one. So it's awesome.
For sure.
Yeah, I think so. And it's, we've got some stuff to talk about hip-wise tonight, like for sure. So I want to start at the start, and I want to start with the fucking bombshell that we dropped on Monday with Jillian from Palmerston. Wheat Kings coming in at number 17. Anybody's mind fucking blown by that? Like,
yeah,
it's
I'm
not
so surprised.
My top 10, but I thought for sure the collective would have it in the top 7, Yeah.
For sure. Definitely. This goes along with what I said last week, because I said the same thing about last week's song, that it was the first time that I felt that way, that I was like legitimately surprised. Like everything else has just kind of been like an observation sort of thing. But last week and this week is definitely like, okay. And it really makes like, as we inch closer to the top 10, like it's interesting. Like, okay, what else is going to surprise us and what's coming up? And excitement's building. So
one of the things we do after every 10 songs is we get together and we have a round table and we dissect the list as it exists. So when we get together next, we'll be talking about songs 40 through 11. And right now, Sarah J and I don't have any companions on that round table, and we're looking for fresh meat. So if you've already done it, let's move to the back of the line for now. So
who wants to come into the hot seat with us?
That's right. And we'll set you up for the recording. It'll be a live recording, or not a live recording, but a live stream. So anyway, I went off track there. Andrew, what were your thoughts?
On the song or just for the week? What are you looking for?
Exactly, on the song.
Okay, I'm so surprised it's that low because it seems like it's the favorite of the casual fan. It's one of the top 3 or 4 songs you'd go to a concert and you'd see them screaming for or get excited when it comes on.
That's right.
It's one of the ones that you would expect to hear walking down the street coming out of someone's car.
Yeah.
So being that
the wedding
low
song
really
probably.
surprised me. Yeah, it just kind of surprised me that it just fell that low. Not that the top 20 out of the set list is all going to be killer, but
it is.
I would have thought that would have fallen top 10.
There's going to be some real fucking heartbreakers coming up, where it's like, holy shit.
This is where it's going to get interesting in the community, I think, as we get closer and closer, and these songs just start to reveal themselves. This is where you're going to get a lot of commentary for sure.
Mm-hmm.
This is where the debate is going to start getting real juicy, I think.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think so too. And what did we think about Jillian's take? I was absolutely floored. I was absolutely floored that I've never considered the song in that way, really. And I know that Gord has introduced the song and he's name dropped Gail Miller. Like, it's not as though he completely forgets it, but it is lost in the entire crime that he didn't commit narrative. What do you guys think?
It's interesting that you bring up that point too, about that he has mentioned Gail Miller, because in Dante's episode you played 3 songs and one of those songs was Wheat Kings, and before that version he actually does mention Gail Miller. So it was really interesting that we had just heard that episode. She had this take on everything and brought up Gail the way that she did, and then later on in
there's
the
method
week,
to my madness sometimes.
you put this in there, and I'm like listening to it, I'm like, wait a minute. Like, we were just talking about her. So I love that she's getting her recognition in the way that we can get it. But her episode was just amazing. Like, her story was amazing. There's so many pieces of it that I identify with, and her concert t-shirt story. I love that her Jeep is named Cordelia. Her whole Church of Gord take. I feel you, sister. Like, all the things she was saying. Just everything. She's just very awesome. So
you vibed.
Oh, I vibed so hard with her. I loved it. So
yeah. Andrew, did you vibe with Jillian from Palmerston?
I have not listened to her episode yet. I'm
you son
bad
of a gun.
follower. I try to save them for when I have.
Well, we
I can
won't
listen
tell
to
you
the
anymore
whole
then.
thing without kids. No, go into it. It's selling it more than anything else. It's great.
Oh my God, you're gonna love it so much. And like, everything she was just talking about, like being connected with the music and like hearing things when you're supposed to hear them, and it sounded like what it must be like to talk to me. So
nice.
It was a great episode.
Nice. I try to save them when I don't have kids in the background, and that's so I can really focus in on the episode. So sometimes I'll have to do 2 at once, but
that's cool. 2 at one time?
I'll listen to 2
one in each
episodes
year?
back to back, and no, I'll listen to 2 episodes back to back. Clean the house or do something domestic. Yeah, I'm not that skilled.
My kids are used to me walking around with because I can't wear earbuds because my ear canals are like too small. So I have to wear like regular headphones, and my kids are used to me walking around and I have one ear like open. So I'm still like aware of like life, but I've got the other headphone doing its thing.
Nice.
So.
No, I love the escape of it. I same way. I have to have headphones, and I just put them on and zone out, sit in the hot tub or drive somewhere.
For sure.
Absolutely.
What did he
Craig
say?
brings up an interesting point when he says, I thought it was interesting to think of it from that perspective. He's talking about Wheat Kings. That's just not the story Gord was telling. I think Montreal is such a powerful song which takes the victim's family's perspective. So we know, and of course we knew this before Montreal, but we know he's got it in him, It seems as though Wheat Kings, there's not a line about, her lying cold in the snow in Saskatoon alone and dying.
Maybe it just didn't fit. It didn't, sometimes
For sure.
when you're creating something, and as much as you would like to include it, sometimes it just doesn't work. And you and I talked about this too in one of the meetings that we had this week about this episode, that I feel that, if time had allowed for it, to have him revisit that song, or perhaps write like a sequel, I guess you could say, a part 2, or however you would want to phrase it or whatever. But I feel like that would have happened. I think that would have happened, or there would have been some sort of a mention of her in something, in some way, because that, is also his style of just mentioning in someplace else. So I think that if time would have allowed for it, then I think that would have happened.
Or maybe,
for sure.
but Sarah, maybe not. Maybe not.
Maybe not.
And that's okay.
She might
We're
just
not
live
being
in the Notebook.
We're not being critical of the song.
Like, you don't know.
Exactly.
You don't know where.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's the thing, is it's maybe it's nestled somewhere else, and maybe that's where it should be. Who knows?
We're gonna take a brief pause here for a moment and reset. We're doing the Sunday evening jam. We're here every Sunday, Sarah J and myself, talking about the Tragically Hip, and you can join us in the live stream if you would like to. If you're interested in membership, you can look into that at duver.com/TTH Top 40. We'd love to have you join us. That would be real cool. And now, speaking of membership, we're going to be joined by our friend Jeff from Vaughan. Jeff from Vaughan, how you doing?
Hi, Jeff.
Doing pretty good. How's everybody doing tonight over here?
Wonderful hanging out with you on Sunday again. I like this. I can get used to this. This is fun.
Nice to have all 4 quadrants filled up tonight.
I love it. It's like a game show or something. This is great.
Yeah.
We can have up to 10 people. We can have up to 10. So just remember that.
Kind of a whole party going.
So I want to introduce something that we could talk about for a moment, because this is going to be something you're going to hear a lot about in the next 30 days. Okay. But we're going to talk about it here first. And that is, of course, the Ultimate Superfan Contest search, rather. The Tragically Hip's Ultimate Superfan search. This is something that will be crowned on October 4th at the Rec Room. And it will be voted upon by the Tragically Hip community. So you know that it's going to hold water. So if you think you are the fucking ultimate super fan, comment on our Facebook page or any of the Facebook groups with the hashtag ultimate superfan, and we'll keep track of it. And from there, we'll let you know if you move on to the next round. There's going to be prizes. There's going to be a fucking sash that says Superfan, Ultimate Superfan, TTH Ultimate Superfan. I'm making this up right now.
So fun.
Yeah. And it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. What do you guys think? Do you know somebody, or are you the ultimate superfan? Jeff?
Well, I got a question for you on that. So people are nominating people,
Mm-hmm.
and then is that a vote, or are you actually going to put people up and people are going to vote for people? Is there some sort of category bullet point list of why this person is no? You
don't have to give us anything. You don't have to give us anything for now. Basically, you can nominate as often as you want and as many times as you want.
Right.
Basically, at the end of August 15th, the top 5 nominees move on to the next round, where they will be soliciting votes. They'll be, getting their family and friends to try and push them through to the ultimate superfan.
Do the big social push and say, hey, I'm one of the top 5. I need your vote.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's going to be the fun part. That's the part that I'm really
right.
looking forward to, is when we get to those top 5 and everybody starts pushing and, campaigning for themselves, and it'll be fun to see how the community rallies around that. Be fun.
Very cool.
I think so. So the nomination part is very important to make sure that we're being accurate. Andrew, what do you think? Do you know somebody who is an ultimate super fan, or is it you that you would nominate?
I wouldn't nominate me, but I put somebody up. One of the guys that took me to my first hip show from Little Dufe, New York, and just who's been to so many shows, would always wander his way up front, knew the music in and out, and has just always been there with them. So I threw somebody's name up there and kind of see how it goes.
Awesome.
Okay.
So here's the trick, Andrew from Tampa. You need to do that every single fucking day, because the one nomination isn't gonna do shot. Yeah.
You got to have the votes in there. Yep.
Or you just sit there one day and just do it fucking 25 times in a day and then walk away or whatever.
All right.
Yeah.
Got you.
That's more of Andrew's vibe. I can feel it from here.
I'll get you done.
And I will be, you guys are going to get sick of it, but I'm going to try and do my best to vary the content as much as I can. But I really just want people to play along and have fun with this. And if it makes, a few more people come to the event to see who is the ultimate super fan, well, then that's a hell of a lot of fun. Right?
Yeah, I got a question for you. Are the super fan ads and stuff going up over Sirius too, with the Sirius episodes?
That is in talks.
Okay.
They're in talks. You have to be careful because Sirius is ad free. So it's like anything that we do that sounds promo-y, is sort of tenuous.
Okay.
So I'm working on it.
All right.
Trust me.
We're always working on the things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you seen like a lot of additional traffic from it? Because that's awesome that it's on Sirius.
The first, what's crazy is the first week we were up, God, like 100% probably.
Wow.
Yeah. And then last week we had the lowest week we've had in months. So it's up and down.
Oh.
It's up and down. Yeah.
Hmm.
So I don't think that's reflective of the episode. I think it's reflective of people finding and going back and listening to, like on some days, people that are new to it going back and listening to 40 and then working their way backwards.
Yeah.
But I do think that initially some serious people who maybe were interested after listening to a couple episodes may have came to the website and started to binge a bit.
Okay,
I don't know though. Like my analytics are not granular, and nor am I an analytics maestro. So there's that. Yeah. Jeff, what have you been up to that's tragically hip related this week?
I can't let the cat out of the bag, but I do have another comment. Did I see in your hipstery post that it's In Between Evolutions anniversary?
Absolutely, and that is on our agenda. Why not hit it now?
Love that you're
All right. Well, there you go,
Andrew. I love it.
Yeah. I pulled the shirt out.
So,
it's got the bleach stains and everything on it.
I love it.
Oh, that is fucking great, dude.
That's
Happy
amazing. That's how you know it's seen some life. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I do plenty of shows, so.
I'm curious then. I don't want to steal JD's thunder on asking questions, but what's everybody here from that album? What if you've got to see a couple of songs from that album? What song from that album live did you enjoy the most, or what's most memorable to you?
So for me, I'll start. For me, I didn't see them live afterwards. Like after that record was released, I only saw them twice after that record was released.
That was during a little break for you, right?
Yeah, I saw them on the completely reunion tour, or like a whole album tour twice. I saw them on that tour, and then I also saw them in Toronto during the final tour. So I saw them 3 more times, I guess.
So I couldn't tell you. There's nothing from that record that stands out to me. So I would have to answer that no, there's not, like, unfortunately, no. And what kills me is I'm so still in love with Heart of the Melt, and I think that would have just fucking rip live.
You put that on the playlist too. It's on your Canada Day playlist, that song. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Lit.
Yeah. It's a fantastic song. My answer would be the same. I only saw one show, and it was in 2009. And that was a whole evening with the rain and all of that. So my answer's the same, but the song that I'm married to right now, I love that term that JD said. I like stole it. It's so true though. As Makeshift As We Are is the song that I've just been spinning nonstop lately. So that's the new song I'm married to. So that's my answer.
How about you, Andrew?
I saw a couple shows on that tour, believe it or not. So
Cool.
Goodnight Josephine just was a killer. They loved playing it live. It felt like they really got into that song, and it just went over really well.
That song was made to be played live, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
It just was.
They closed a few shows with that song, actually.
Yeah.
Or at least closed the main set with it.
Yeah.
I faintly remember, yeah.
Makes sense.
I'm looking at
that is
shows.
a great
So
song.
I did Bayfest on that tour, and then Darien Lake, and then later in the year, I think they did Rochester at a music hall, and it was it was a great tour. So,
did you used to live up this way, Andrew? Is that why you would have saw?
Yeah, Buffalo. I'm from Buffalo originally, so Niagara County. So I was all over the place.
Yeah,
you're a whirling dervish.
So
did you guys get? Absolutely. Oh, that's definitely a compliment. I didn't say a whirling dick. So 21 years since that record dropped. What do you remember about that time? I'll go to Jeff and Andrew on this one. We'll start with Jeff.
Well, so my son was born in 2004. And my daughter was born in 2002, so each of them kind of have their own album. Like I would have been listening to that right after they were born. But I'm going to go back to the question I asked you guys, and I can give you a little commentary, because although I had a young one, I still went to show. I still snuck out of the house for shows. Maybe didn't drive as far, but I mean, I remember going on College Street to, oh man, I'm going to forget the bar. They played a bar on College Street to open up that album. And it changed. It's called the Access Club now, but Live Nation bought it back, and they're switching it back to.
The Mod Club.
Yeah. So I went to the Mod Club show there, which only holds, I don't know, maybe 700 people, 800 people.
Yeah. Under 1,000, for sure.
I remember I was off to the right on Bobby's side and him sitting down, and then I'm pretty sure they opened up with Vaccination Scar, which was a popular opener around that particular tour when Grace 2 didn't pop up. So that was always fun to hear. And I will tell you, JD, Heart of the Melt was a ripper live. Wasn't necessarily one of my favorites, but they played it hard. But for my favorite live, probably, I mean, there's a couple, but I really, there's something about You're Everywhere. I got to hear a couple of times, one in particular at the Budweiser Gardens. I remember that, really enjoyed that one. That and It Can't Be Nashville Every Night was just always a fun song. Just hearing Gord say, F this and F that, like you just can't. I don't know. There was just something fun about that song. You know what I mean? It was just like almost a bit of an interlude wherever they stuck it in the set list. But
yeah,
I did enjoy the album art on that one. I thought it was really cool. Yeah, there was.
And what's cool is they have it in the bathhouse.
That's right.
Yeah,
and Gord Sinclair has a nice, really cool version of a lot of the. I don't know exactly. I'm pretty sure I saw one, or maybe he was in the bathhouse, but there was a picture of him behind him on the wall when he was doing one of his reels where he kind of does a little riff or something.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I wonder where that was. Because it's in the control room. So I don't think he would be playing in the control room. But maybe.
Yeah, maybe I think he has one at his house, actually, that, often these artists, that did the albums. Some of them spinned off different versions of the album, and often would go out to the band members afterwards or family or whatever. And I speak from experience. I contacted a few of them over the years and was lucky enough to pick up a couple of pieces. I got one from the Day for Night artist out of Kingston. He had a couple of pieces laying around. I just off a cuff emailed him and said, do you have anything left over from your sketch, like the charcoal sketches you did for Day for Night? And he says, as a matter of fact, I do. I've got a couple. And he says they're the reverse version. The album used, I forget if they used the day or the night version, but he says, I have the opposite. I have, there's the plate and the fish and the knife. And he had a couple pieces, and he had 2 pieces left. I scooped both of them up. Great. Way back in the late, and I got one framed, and it's in one of my main rooms downstairs, and nobody would know what it is because it doesn't, unless you're a hip fan, because it just looks like a pencil sketch basically, right?
Yeah. They also have the cover of Day for Night in the bathhouse.
Yes.
In the pool room.
Right. And the fully completely one when you first walk in on the left.
Completely one.
That massive one.
Unreal. Yes.
Yeah.
Unreal. Yeah. It's in the guitar hall, in the amplifier hallway, they call it.
Yeah, interesting album.
Yeah, I think so too.
It is.
Andrew, what do you remember about the time that it came out? Did you get it day of?
Yeah, I remember going to get it at the record store. A couple years out of high school, just working, grinding, and going to as many shows as I could with my friends. I remember camping a lot. Show at Darien Lake, we'd always camp. Have you ever been to Darien Lake? It's a little regional theme park, but they have a huge amphitheater, kind of like the Molson Amphitheater, and a big campground.
It's a nightmare. Parking and leaving Darien Lake is the worst.
You don't leave, Sarah. You stay for the whole weekend.
Yes, I know. Trust me. I know this. Right. But
you have to tailgate before and after.
Exactly. Yeah, because the campground's connected to the amphitheater. Yeah,
that's what you do.
That's what you see, like at Molson Park as well.
Yeah,
you literally just stay there and pop your trunk and just sit and fucking chill because you are not going anywhere for a long time.
No, for a long
time.
Well,
the campground's attached. So I just remember camping, going out to Bayfest. We camped out there, and just a lot of summer nights, camping and going to shows or staying out with friends. It was kind of the thing to do. And rural New York, there's not much else going on, so you'd camp out by a lake or in an apple orchard somewhere and chill out. And that was kind of the vibe. That when the album came out, I was just going to shows and having a good time.
That's great.
I got my signature hat at the Rochester show. So
really,
it was just I remember meeting the guys. I've met them a bunch of times before then, but it was strange because Gord walked up and he knew my name. He's like, Andrew, hey, let me sign your hat, and wrote Andrew right on the hat. And it's just weird because he'd always remember. He was strange that way. But
is that a drumstick there too?
Yeah, I got a drumstick and a bunch of tickets. So I got a mic stand and a handkerchief and a couple different things.
Cool.
But
man,
very cool memorabilia.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. Jeez. Well, I want to talk. I want to talk a little bit about. Oh, that's all I've got. Oh no, I want to move to the theme of the week, which is Campfire Classics. So that's what we're going to spend the rest of our time talking about, and then we'll bid you adieu. So I wonder, when you were at Darien Lake, did you do the camping part of it, or did you just go out for the concert?
Oh, no, you camped. You stayed the whole weekend. It was a 4-day weekend.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Wow.
He was all in. He was all in.
Holy shit. So you're very familiar with camping. Now, are there, after the hip shows, are there guitar circles? Are there anything like that? Do you find people communing?
It kind of depended on the era. So like you had the, drunk college dudes that took over a lot of it, but you did have that little bit of, musical people. They'd be sprinkled throughout. Everybody had something going through their car stereo for sure at different sites, and everybody had kind of communal tables set up. People would come and visit each other and mingle. And it was just a kind of a whole vibe the whole weekend. And that was at every show we'd stay over at. So
that's so fun. Like having that little community after is always a really fun and favorite part of it too.
Yeah.
Because you get to debrief the show. That's
right.
the best part of it, is everybody gets to sit around and debrief what they just saw and experienced.
I remember at Bayfest, wherever we stayed, I think they had camping set up at like a 4-H center or something. Just waking up in the middle of the night, it was real bright. Someone had set a wagon on fire and pushed it down the hill, and just it was just light and everything else. It was crazy. It was a crazy party stuff going on, but
shenanigans to the max.
Yeah. That sounds like a hip crowd especially back in those days.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It was always wild.
Gee whiz. So have any of you been in a guitar circle around a campfire? For like not just playing hip, like have you done it?
I mean, yeah. Been
Yeah.
around plenty.
Yeah.
Definitely.
You got a cottage or friends with a cottage or anything like that? Jeff?
Friends with cottages.
Yeah, that's nice.
Friends with cottages. Yeah, I've definitely heard. I mean, Wheat Kings is obviously a big go-to because it's
I think so too.
Lyrics are easy to remember, and you're talking about 2 or 3 chords, right? Like, so that was often heard. But I've heard others as well.
Bob Cajun was always a huge one.
For
play
sure.
Bob Cajun at the campfire.
Yeah,
everyone can sing that one too. You know what's funny is, do you remember in Wayne's World when they go into the guitar shop and he starts playing? He plays like the first 8 bars of like Stairway to Heaven, and then the clerk points to the sign that says "No Stairway to Heaven." I feel like there should be a sign like that for campfires that just says "No Wheat Kings."
That's right.
It's so cliche 100%. At this point,
100%.
And I was guilty of it. We all did it, but now it feels like it would be so, like cliche. Do you feel like
but the further you get away from it, the more you're going to miss it.
Oh God. Yeah, dude, I fucking love that song. That's why I'm so crushed at 17.
Right.
So crushed. Yeah.
So your list, JD, I didn't look at it, but is it all acoustic style, slower hip songs, or is there some faster ones in there as well? Because campfires don't have to be always everybody's laid back and
no, not at all.
Either. Yeah.
No, it's unrelated to the playlist. The playlist is just a rollicking good time.
Right.
The playlist doesn't. I don't know if there's any that I would translate to, the campfire classes. But you're right. You're totally right. Like, if you could play, my buddy always played Pigeon Camera, so we would play that.
Yeah.
I think of the fast song. Boots or Hearts. We played Boots or Hearts a lot.
Sure.
I mean, you have Wheat Kings on your playlist, so you're kind of like,
all right.
I feel like depending on what time of the night it is. I mean, I've done playlists for parties before and for campfires, and I'm often thinking from a time point of view. If I make it a couple hours, like, are people just kind of milling in and arriving? Then there's a certain song, and then do you have it build up a little bit and give a couple of kick-ass type, more upbeat songs, and then start to wind things down a little bit, or a little bit of both, right? I wrote down a couple that I was looking at earlier. If New Orleans is beat from a slower tempo, that one. The Luxury obviously comes to mind as well. I try and picture those being played. Lake Fever seems to be like a middle of the road one if you're around a lake, of course. A little bit quicker. And I love IVL, so I love Throwing Off Glass. For me, that's just one of those sleepers that can kind of, you're not going to win over the casual Wheat King fan person with that one, maybe, but
I wonder if on the We Are the Same tour, was there an acoustic version of that on that tour? I know, because they did like a 3-song acoustic set every night. And I'm just curious if one of those nights was Thrown Off Glass. If you guys know off the top of your head.
Oh,
I would love to hear an acoustic version of that.
That's an interesting question.
Have to do some research for sure.
because it's very atmospheric, right? Like it is. The guitar is very affected, and that would be very different on an acoustic. So if anybody out there is listening, and you play and you want to fucking experiment with something fun for next year's pod lists, then that might be a little project
Putting it out there.
Yeah, absolutely. How about you there, Sarah J?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, I think that it just exactly what Jeff was saying about the playlists. For sure, when you're doing the playlist, you got to put in some different ideas and thoughts of how the evening's going to go and all that. I don't know. First of all, I'm going to come back to your playlist, and it's one of those things that this would pair well with that. It has that ebb and flow that Jeff was talking about. And actually, Lake Fever is on there, and it has that in the middle of the playlist, which I think is great. It's got that nice, like, middle kind of, breather almost before you pick up the rest of it. But yeah, and I agree with your sentiments about Wheat Kings for sure. It's a fantastic song. I don't want to hate on it at all. And we were talking about it earlier in the episode because of, it being on the show this week and everything. But no, it's definitely, that was a perfect analogy equating it to that scene in Wayne's World for sure.
Yeah.
Spot on. I do want to come back to, though. I do want to come back to and talk about the Fully and Completely episode for In Between Evolution.
Sure.
That you threw it into the feed.
It came out today.
Did you? Yeah. You dropped the link in there? I didn't see it. Okay, I'm gonna go back.
It's actually in the feed. It's totally in. Okay. Like if you subscribe to the podcast, it'll be there.
It'll be pop up in there. Yeah.
All right.
That's been a nice thing to do. I've said that a couple of these weeks when we're doing the anniversary of the albums that I'm going and listening to those because I've never listened to them. So it's a great excuse to dive into those. And that was one of the many things I listened to this weekend. And I do love some of the points that you made. And I would love if Jeff hasn't listened to the episode or he hasn't, it's been a little while. But I would love to hear what he has to say about this after he listens to this. So you made the point of Summer's Killing Us being the flip side of It's a Good Life If You Don't Weekend. And so I listened to both of those because you brought it up in the episode. And so I listened to both of those songs back to back. And I didn't do my usual over analysis that I'm so very good at. But I can agree with what you had to say about the two songs being, like both sides of the coin for sure. So after you listen to both of those songs, Andrew too, I'd love to hear your take on this as well. And anybody else who's listening. But that was an interesting point that you made in that episode. That
I don't remember it at all. Wow.
That's why I brought it up too, because I'm like, he's not going to remember. And I've done this.
That's how you know it was a really good idea.
For sure.
No, I'll tell you, Andrew. It's like I edited 2 episodes today, and granted, one of them was recorded in November, but nevertheless. It was like me listening to a brand new interview. It might as well have been like a Scottish dude interviewing the person because I don't remember it at all.
At all. Yep. Nice. The same thing happens to me too. People will say things from episodes of mine, and then I'm like, I'm so glad that resonated with you because I don't remember saying it. So I'm glad it's on recording because then somebody can. Actually,
do you remember what the thought process was like behind it? Like,
I think it's just when you guys were going like track by track, and then you were talking about what you thought that the song was about. So it is definitely when you guys were just going track by track, and then this song came up, and then you spoke about it being like the other side of that, viewpoint of being on the road, like the ups and the downs of just that whole situation. And so it was a very interesting point because I listened to it, and then you also made the other point about Vaccination Scar, which I will say, like, I can't hear that song and not like trail into your voice every time I hear this song. Every time I hear that song, I like hear you start to talk. So it's like permanently etched in my brain. So thanks for that. But the comment you made about that is that it had the same vibe and aesthetic about it that it could have been found on road apples. And so that was a very interesting comment that you made too, that stuck out to me.
I stand by that.
Yeah, it's a very true statement for sure. When you said that, I was just like, definitely, I agreed out loud when you said that. So that's
like, it would be different. It wouldn't be the exact same song because Don Smith would produce it different than oh my gosh, what's his name? Gavin Brown? Is it Gavin Brown who did In Between Evolution, or Andy?
You just said it on the thing and I forgot, because if I don't write it down, I don't remember. But no, you're right. It would be different because it's a different producer. So names aside, that statement is true. It would be
that guitar tone. It's that guitar tone.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely, for sure. So those were my two main takeaways from it. But I suggest everybody go back and listen to these now that you're throwing them back in the feed and everything. It's a great companion to do when you're revisiting these albums as the birthdays come up. So
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's
right.
It's really
just a nice reminder. That way, Jeff inspired us last week when he basically said, make it as easy as possible. And that's what we're doing. We're just
somebody else mentioned
it'll show up.
Someone else mentioned that in the comments too, to get it in there. Well, I wasn't listening to you as much back then. I did listen to a couple, but I bet you I didn't listen to 80% of the albums that you guys went through. So I'm lucky. I have all those I can go chew on, and you're making me more interested now, especially as the anniversaries come up, and even tonight with you asking me like, hey, what was going on in 2004? Do you remember when you got the album? And now I'm looking at it again, and I remember Are We Family? I remember being in the living room with my wife and the two kids with that song just kind of jiving.
Aww,
yeah,
I love that so much,
dude.
I love that. That's what I love about these episodes too, that you did with Fully and Completely. As at the top of the show, you guys talked about the other things that were going on at the same time.
What was going on in the world and music.
Musically and sports in the world and the current events. And it was really on brand. Like, it was important to the conversation and to like what the album was and the music that they produced, especially with this album and everything that was going on in the world and the country, our country, the US, all the things that were going on, post 9/11 world, just all the things. And so it's really great that that was included in all of these episodes, because it's definitely relevant anyway, but especially when you're talking about a band and a songwriter like Gord, who was so just took in everything and, used all that to write all these songs. And so really going back and remembering all the things that were going on at that time really helped put a different perspective around the songs, because like, I don't know about anybody else, but I don't remember a shit ton of world events from 2004. You remember like major stuff, but like how much life has happened since then. So to like have these refreshers or kind of remember like how intense the news was, or all these other things that were going on, like economic turmoil or political shit that we just don't remember, to hear about those things again. And then how you guys thought that incorporated into the music, and a lot of times it's pretty spot on for sure. It really gave it a different perspective and depth to learning about the songs. So it's a really good.
And it's funny. It sets the table. Sure. It sets the table before you go to really dig that album apart.
Definitely. So. And so it's helped, especially like doing these different things with the anniversaries. And then of course we're going to talk about them. So I'm going to listen to it and be even more prepared than if we weren't doing something like this. And then so to listen to that and not only get like your guys' perspective, which is very similar to like what we do here on Sundays. And so to hear your conversation, but there have been different things that I've listened to, and then I'll start doing my own research about different things. And so it just really helps you dive in. It's a great companion for sure.
I'm moving my microphone, but you can't see my microphone. That's
Yeah,
It's
I thought you were playing guitar for a minute there, and I
I
couldn't see
thought you were
the
going to do
guitar.
a magic trick. I don't know.
I
Hey,
thought he
Gord.
was going to do a magic trick too. I was like,
What are you
oh
doing?
shit. We're at the part of the evening where there's magic tricks. Okay.
Absolutely. You gotta hook them in at the partway point, right?
It's the
Gotta
after
bring them back,
after hours
reel them
tricks.
in. Yeah, no, that was funny. I normally it sort of crashes out, but I've got a new lighting rig, so it's fucking awesome. I can't describe how happy I am about it.
Yeah, you do like you have an extra blast on you.
Yeah,
of light. Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah. Well, now that we're doing more video, right? Like,
right,
gotta be prepared.
And your
Right.
camera's working. Yay!
And my camera's working. 2 weeks in a row. Jeez Louise. Well, anything else hip related that anybody wants to bring to the table?
You know, one thing that just kind of bubbled up in my memory as we're talking was that Darien Lake show.
Yeah.
I remember going through, and at that park, like any goofy theme park, they have a big fireworks and musical show at the end. They timed fireworks, the song, to play just as the fireworks were going off in the theme park. And I didn't know if it was accident or what was going on that year, because they played every summer there almost, and it never happened again, but they were playing fireworks with fireworks going off all around the stage, which was really cool.
Holy cow.
That's fucking
That is really
great.
cool.
What a memory that must be.
That is really cool.
I just chit-chatting here, it just kind of came up. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. That was crazy.
Yeah.
I love that so much.
It's fun to reminisce.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Hell yeah. I love that.
I'm not nostalgic, but man, did I ever used to be.
Right.
Jeff, what were you going to say?
I said, good old Darien Lake. I did hit a couple of shows there. I remember going. Yeah. I went to a couple of shows there way back. It would have been maybe late 90s or early 2000s. I probably did one or two. Sarah and Andrew, I don't know how far back you guys go, but I grew up in Niagara Falls, and I'm going to bring this up just as a aside.
I graduated from Niagara Falls High School. I love that.
Hey?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
In Niagara Falls, US, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, my mom still lives in Niagara Falls.
Oh, I was on the Ontario side, but my dad used to take us over to Grand Island, to Fantasy Island.
Yep.
Remember that place?
Yep.
That would be the equivalent of maybe the Wonderland here, but the Hip never played Kingswood Theater here. I don't remember if
that's
Fantasy
shocking.
Island. What?
It's shocking they never played Kingswood.
You're right, because it was still around in the mid to late 80s, right?
They might have just been too big, and there wasn't. But they were playing the Forum, and the Forum.
Yeah, but at that time too, the crowds were really rowdy. They might not have wanted them.
Yeah, good point.
You know what I mean? Point.
So you would have saw them at the Odd then, way back, probably too, Andrew, the Buffalo Odd.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. 99 is when I kind of started going to shows. So.
Oh, okay.
I think that, or it was right when the new arena opened.
When the new arena opened.
Yeah, they called it Marine Midland.
Marine Midland Arena.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. How many names has it had?
Like 3 or 4, maybe.
Yeah.
I think like 3 or 4.
It's confusing, doesn't it?
Niagara, and now it's like Key Bank Center, and it's gone through.
And what do you call it? Do you still call it the original one, or do you keep up and call it what it's currently called?
I don't even know what
it's
called.
For example, here we have something called the Rogers Center, which is where the baseball team plays. But 2/3 of the people that I know, like in my age cohort, still call it Skydome.
It's Skydome,
right? Yeah.
It's Skydome, right, Jeff?
All these brands keep buying stuff up, and I can't tell the difference. It's Scotia this, Scotia that, Rogers this, Rogers that.
I just call it the arena. That's what I call it.
Right.
I just call it the arena. That's just because I can't keep up with the names. So
I would call it, if I were you, I would call it the Sabres house.
That's what I was gonna say. Just where the Sabres play. I don't know. That's what I say pretty much. Is like the arena is what I call it, though.
Did the Hip ever play Art Park, or was that too small?
Oh no, they played there.
They loved Art Park.
They did, eh? Okay.
Yeah,
they did a 4-night stand one year. It was an expensive week.
Oh, when they were doing the smaller shows. So they did.
Yeah.
So when they did the Massey Halls, they did Art Park for 4 nights.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I never
They
made
did
it
Art
down
Park
there
a
again.
bunch of years. Yeah. It was always sold out. It was one of the ones that you had to get tickets right away or you weren't going.
Well, because our park is so gorgeous and it's like right on the gorge. So like the fucking Niagara River is literally right there. Like it's such a gorgeous fucking place.
Sarah, you saw
they would
them there?
usually spend the day right in Lewiston.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And you just be in Lewiston the whole day, which is such a.
Yeah.
I lived in Lewiston for about a year and a half, and it's such a really cute little spot. Like it is.
And the guys would always go to the shops. I'd meet them in town a couple times.
Yep.
That's happened.
Well, and actually, Johnny Faye's his signature sticks are actually made in Lewiston too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. So
pretty neat, eh?
Cute little like spot. So, and our park's a great place for a show. For sure.
Yeah. Excellent.
A great summer venue. I was just up last year and saw the Trues there, but the Jackson Triggs Winery in Niagara on the Lake. It's a small little amphitheater. I saw the Hip there. Oh my God. It was one of the greatest shows.
Just the Hip played there?
Yes, I've never seen a show there, but I've heard really
I've heard good stories. What year did they play there?
Oh, I'd have to go look it up, but I
was
not
a big deal. I was just curious.
Yeah, it's worth looking up. I have some pictures from it.
Was it called? Was it still the Jackson Triggs back then when they played, or was it? Was they? Okay.
Yeah, no, but it's that winery, and they kind of built an amphitheater in the middle of just the grape rows. Yeah, and so you go, and it's a functioning winery, and they kind of have everything set up temporary.
Yeah, no, I know guys.
Little hospitality tent.
Yeah,
it's a cool place.
Very cool. Very cool.
Well, folks, unless there's any other business that we should discuss, what do you say we pack it up? Again, I'm willing to talk more, but I just don't know what to talk about. So give us a talk.
You're all good.
Andrew's finished his beverage, so
yeah, we're good.
Andrew's finished his beverage.
That's
Well then, we will bid you adieu for another evening. I want to thank Jeff from Vaughan, and I want to thank Andrew from Tampa for joining us tonight. We're here every Sunday at 8:00, Sarah J. and myself. And of course, thanks for coming out.
See ya.
Pick up your shit. Pick up your shit.
If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.